which should be good.
Oh no, this episode's messed up too, isn't it? Hey, we are live. I see 3 evenly shaped boxes on the live stream. Well, fairly evenly shaped boxes.
Alright.
Oh, that echo though.
I'm gonna turn myself down some. And I guess I'm gonna do this because nobody else wants to. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, wrestling fans of all ages, welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Reality Rundown. It is I, the SKF Effect. We are joined tonight by the Queen of Rage, Liv, by the man of the Caesar sense, the Red Standard,
bro.
the Overlord of Area 51, who cannot be seen and only heard because, well, he's in Area 51, he's locked away, he doesn't want to be seen. It's on the invasion, Brett.
John Cena's my idol. Who cares?
There's a reason why he's not on camera, people. There's a
I was
reason.
not expecting that from him. Wow. That caught me off guard.
I've actually had that joke saved up for weeks, and I've just been acting. Now I was like, oh, that's actually the camera's not working, so I can use it.
It's a haircut. So, there's a few things we're going to talk about today. You know what? Let's just start with the main event. Because I've been dying to hear this one.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wait, hold on. Yeah, let's, while you do that, let me go get the tea ready.
You have your tea? I got my tea.
I have my tea! Sorry. I made Steven choke.
Yes,
I got my Lipton iced tea here.
Alright. So, Liv, we understand an independent wrestler that you got to know got signed to some pretty major company, and then someone else just decided to be, what a dick. Can you go into details in regards to this?
Okay, so, first off, congratulations to Markos Rant, who just got signed to AEW. As Steven kindly pointed out, I got to meet him this weekend at American Rana by Beyond. He was the sweetest person, seriously, sat down, watched the show, everything. And it was actually his birthday, which made it even worse that this is happening. This guy, who apparently is a wrestler that no one knows, so who gives a fuck what he says, but it's just the point.
Oh!
His name is Gunnar Miller. No one's ever heard of him, and now no one ever will hear of him. He made this long post about how when he was 6, he knew he wanted to be a professional wrestler. He looked up to guys like Triple H, Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan, Warrior, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Goldberg, Sting. And he goes on to say all these things that he's done in his life to get where he is in his career, and then decides to bash Markos Rant because he is 5'2" and 115 pounds. And then he says, in quote, a guy that 6-year-old me laughs at. So first off, who the fuck is this guy?
And let's add in here. Did you mention his signing?
Ooh.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said congratulations.
Okay, I zoned out on that part.
That's why this guy is posting it, is because he's bitter that Marco is 5'2" and 115 pounds, and he's a big guy, and he's not signed anywhere. Well, maybe your attitude, first off, is the reason you're not signed anywhere. And the fact that you're clearly picking down other people who aren't the same size as you just to get your spot, doesn't make sense. So my rant for today is going to be based upon the fact that we're going to use WWE as an example because we here like to say Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men.
Wait, Steven, what does Vince like?
Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. Thank you, What Culture Wrestling, for that little wonderful bit.
Continue with.
As we know, WWE has recreated their cruiserweight division, and they are doing absolutely nothing with them, which is basically this dude's exact mindset. Because you're smaller than me, you are talentless, you're nothing, blah, blah, blah. The smaller guys in wrestling, not even arguably, they are the most talented. If you think any, like, smaller guy in wrestling right now, they are probably the most talented actual, like, people that are on any roster that they're on. And I thought Markos just turned 22, I believe, so I'm not by any means saying he's a legend, but I absolutely don't agree with the fact that you're pushing because he got signed and he's not becoming a sideshow. He's going to be in AEW where for the most part they're very like serious about all the things that they're doing. I just think it's very messed up that people are still now conditioned to think that the smaller people are sideshows, they're a joke, no one cares about them, like, they're usually the most talented, and they can do the stunts, they can do all these crazy things. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of going to stop it there, because then I'm too heated. Like, I'm not, this actually really makes me mad.
Oh, go ahead, let it all out.
I was like, we're here for it.
I know, but I don't know. I had my thoughts composed way earlier, but it's been a couple days, so.
She just doesn't want to stoop to that guy's level, is what she's basically saying. She doesn't want to stoop to his petty level.
I had a couple of things, like, thoughts written down, but somehow they're not, like, I don't know. I just think it's stupid how the narrative is that small guys are jokes and the big guys are the ones that are going to succeed in life, and then someone like AEW is making a difference and basing things more on their talent, in-ring, microphone, all of that, and then some dude who no one knows, like, I'd understand, like, maybe if it was one of those Seth Rollins things, I'd maybe even understand, because at least he has a credibility somewhat. But, like, no one knows who you are. Why are you shitting on somebody else? Especially because that is going to kill any chance that you have to do anything. You're literally going to get blacklisted. And, like, I don't know if you guys have now followed Markos Rant, but he's kind of, like, just, retweeting support and everything. And literally everyone, even, like, all these wrestlers, the Bucks, are, like, tweeting, like, shitting on this guy because who cares? Like, who cares, first off, what you think, because you stating your opinion like that isn't going to change the fact that he's contracted, isn't going to change the fact that he's 5'2" and 115 pounds. They're not going to be like, oh, we had no idea that he's so short and so little, so, oh, we're going to take his contract back. Like, no, that's not what's happening. Yeah.
You feel better? You let it all out?
I just saw Brett's reaction.
He can't join us. He tried.
It's not all out, but mostly. Yeah. I feel much better.
So, that was
just one thing that had with what Liv said, because, like, this guy, like she said, this is someone that no one really knew. And it's just that, cause, like, I just wanted to, like, get that out, because it's like, the one thing is, like, you know, no one knew who this guy was until he posted this message. And it's like, sometimes it's like, I don't really know how this message even, like, got to the point where it blew up to the point, you know, because I know everyone's, like, showing their support to the guy, to Markos Rant, but it's just that, you know, it just leaves that, you know, kind of just let that guy to his own self, because, like, honestly, like, that's bringing even more attention to his own self, you know, that his petty messages, like, because, like, that's honestly the one thing that I've been hearing a lot about this past couple of days, and it's just one of those, like, you're bitter, you're upset, and, I get it, but it's just like, don't be an asshole to, like, other people that, are basically making a living on their own.
Yeah. And from what I know, Marco has been at most of the AEW shows. It's just his opportunity that he had with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and he, like, got a lot of traction from that, and that's what people look for. Like, if you're backstage and you're helping them out backstage, they'll be like, oh, you can have a couple minutes on the show, but just those couple minutes, him showing off what he can do for, like I said, 2 minutes, got him the notice from everybody in AEW that they wanted to sign him. So
I saw the photo of him with Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. He looked like a good fit with them.
yeah, it was. I saw a really like cool picture. Someone made like artwork where it's a totem pole, Luchasaurus on the bottom, Jungle Boy in the middle, and then Marco on top. It was cool.
There you go.
But yeah, he's really cool, and like that made it. I honestly don't think I would have cared as much. Like, I liked him, and I followed him for a couple of days before the actual show because I knew I was going to see him there. And, yeah.
A show that also featured MJF, which almost killed you.
You have no idea. I didn't realize it was him until he got, because it was Johnny Impact was walking out, and what had happened was I was taking a picture of Johnny Impact, and the flash went off by accident. Like, it was dark because he was leaving, and the flash went off, so I freaked out, and then someone just ran through, so I didn't even, like, I wasn't really paying attention, and then I saw him in the ring, and, like, his, like, pose that he does, I was like, oh my god, I looked at my friends, and I was like, and yeah.
Good. Was Johnny Impact's name Johnny Impact there?
Johnny Fox was, because that's where we were.
Right. So, that's it for this week's segment of What a Dick. That's like someone get opportunities that you may be jealous of, don't tear them down.
Seriously, like, what do you even, like, gain from that? Like, if you think that, whatever. No one cares about your opinion like that. Especially if it's like, because no matter what, there was a chance that it probably didn't blow up. Someone saw it on his page and posted it and literally was like, what a dick or something like that. And the second that people started seeing it, like, it blew up. So I think that right there shows you that this guy isn't just some small guy that you should be laughing at, basically.
Let's go from news that's going to have Liv fired up to news that will make her happy, possibly. Is we have the first matches announced for AEW when they go on air. Which, Caesar, what's that date?
October the 2nd. Will be on Wednesday, I believe. Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on TNT.
So, one of the first two matches announced is a 6-person tag team match. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Chris Jericho and 2 mystery partners.
LAX. You heard it here first. It's going to be LAX.
That is a very bold prediction from Caesar, but one that I think would be really cool. I think it'd be nice to have the start of LAX versus Young Bucks.
I wonder if they would be even able to use the LAX brand, because we know that Impact allows the Talent to have the trademark, but like the LAX trademark is like, I don't know, that's a tough one to kind of like keep. They could be like Santana or Keith, but just LAX, I don't know about that one.
So when they were at the show that I was at this weekend, and they went back to their original name, which was EYFBO. Entertain your freaking balls off is what that means.
That would work in AEW.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that they could keep that, because it's gonna be one of those unspoken things where, like, you know who, like, if you know LAX, you know that that was them, or they could make something kind of like that. I would love to see that, but I'm not 100% sure. I think that would be what would happen, honestly.
They are listed for the Mexico tapings later this month, but not for the Vegas tapings next month.
LAX?
Yeah. They're listed for Mexico this month, but not...
Take her appearance.
I'd say Mexico could be their goodbye shows.
Because they've already started a storyline last week because they had the storyline at the Slammiversary pay-per-view where Santana was injured, and Daga came in as Santana's replacement. So it'll be interesting to see if they completely rebrand LAX if Ortiz and Santana were to leave.
Ugh.
And I would be interested to see like how both of those guys would do without Conan, because I feel like Conan was definitely a big help for them in terms of character-wise, and they definitely backed it up in the ring. But it's in terms because with the TNT, of course, like it's going to be more character-heavy, being a weekly television show. So it will be interesting to see how those two would do on their own.
My concern with them are they are both very funny people. So, like, seeing them in the LAX roles were very different to me. So I would prefer for them to kind of just stray away from the whole LAX thing, like, in general. And plus, we've seen them off, like, in person, like, off the cameras at Universal and stuff. So we know how funny they are. Like, we know how, like, outgoing. So for them, super serious. Like, I liked the hardness of LAX and how they were very discreet, but I very much think that they would benefit even more from having more freedom. Like
we saw Diane whoop Ortiz in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Which footage? I believe there's footage of that on the channel from 2 years ago. Am I right?
No, not of that one.
Oh, okay, never mind. Don't look for that then.
You're
I
thinking
look
of
for it.
Liv You.
Huh?
You're thinking of Liv whooping you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the show. We're going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus for a while. It's not how I remember it.
He hasn't talked at all.
I know, he's sad. He's just there doing emojis, cons right now.
Is he able to speak?
Yeah,
If he's even paying attention to us at all.
He's taking advantage of
Talk though.
Hello.
Hello.
There he is.
I was listening.
Alright, so the second match announced is Cody versus this guy that normally wears like panda panties, something like that. What's his name?
Panda penis.
He actually said that. He said that in his latest vlog. That's like his nickname, or Panda Crotch. Which is funny because Devin and Braylon tagged him as that one time he was on Impact.
All right.
Remember that? Were you there for that?
Me?
When Sammy was on Impact?
I don't remember.
There and Sammy was at Impact.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was anniversary week.
Oh yeah. X-Tuck.
So yeah, so Liv, how do you feel about that match?
I'm excited. I've seen a lot of negative things about that one as well, and people who are like, and then the people who like are always down on AEW kind of are like, why would you put matches together with no storyline? But how do you expect any storylines to like start if there's no like starting point? Like,
Especially on the first show.
yeah, exactly. This is like their very first live show, and they're going to be coming straight off of a pay-per-view. Kind of.
I'm about to say about a month after the paper. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
about a month after.
A month or two. But, do we know what Cody's doing yet?
Isn't he
John Baker?
fighting, Ty Dillinger?
Sean
Yeah,
Yeah.
that name.
Yeah, so, like, what do you expect? Another Ty Dillinger match for their opening night? Like, no, fuck off.
Also
Yeah.
announced for that first show is also an appearance from Jon Moxley as well as appearances from Britt Baker, Brandy Rhodes, and I believe someone else, and Adam Page. Those are the list of people that they have for the first show.
I know there's going to be something about a women's championship at the first show. And there'll be something involving the tag team titles, so...
Wait, does this mean that Adam Page, like, they kind of spoiled that Adam Page is winning? Because why would Chris Jericho just be in this random match?
To build up Kenny Omega challenging for the title?
I mean, I guess so. Why would that be the first match is like a 6-man?
Well, then again, you also have the Young Bucks in this match who are challenging for the AAA tag titles. So,
yeah. I'm just very, like, curious about Chris's opponents. Because, like, you got to think of it as at least, like, so they have somewhat of a connection to Chris for him to, like, hand-pick them as his opponents.
You mean his partners?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. I'm
It's
very...
just Liz in fighting mode still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
AEW.
going Tazz.
See,
No Liz hype for that one.
Hey, look, she looks ready to smack you now for that one.
No, that's not what I...
Oh, okay, she loves it after all. Slow clap. Slow clap for Caesar.
Didn't they just get signed to ROH, though?
That one was a weird situation where it was like one of those, I don't know, because it was like, we were even talking about it, I think, recently on someone's podcast, Big Cast, but I don't know, that was like one of those like appearances that wasn't supposed to go much somewhere. I don't know, because they were at the Garden that one night and they wanted like a surprise or something like that, so. But yeah, they're not like signed with ROH or anything. That was like 3 months ago too, so they haven't done anything
He
since.
just recently did something with ROH too, but I'm trying to think. Oh, never mind. So, what I'm wondering though is when they're gonna start announcing these other matches, and will those like? Well, obviously they're gonna have at least one women's match, probably 2. So that's already up to what, 5 matches? 4 if there's 2 women's matches. I mean, if there's only 1. How many, like, do we think it's going to be, like, match heavy and not promo heavy? Like,
I feel for the first show you'll probably get kind of a mix between both. Just to kind of like introduce people and their characters and such.
yeah. I'm very excited to hear. The only thing is I don't know. I wouldn't like. I'm thinking of getting tickets to the show and just going down to DC, but I would like to see more of the card to do that. Like that's why I don't understand why they're releasing tickets so early. But
yeah, which is also another question. Do you believe tomorrow? Because tickets I believe going to tomorrow, right?
yeah.
So do you think it's going to be a sellout, considering it's, you know, a Wednesday night
No,
show?
I don't. And especially since this is their first. I mean, it definitely sell out, but I don't think that it's gonna be one of those like it's gonna sell out within the first day.
Right. It'll sell out by the time of the show, but not something like All Out or All In or any of the others.
Yeah. Because if they announce that Jungle Boy and MJF are on that show, that's
it for Liv. She sold.
The draw.
But at the same time, they haven't, so I'm not gonna like make the commitment to like make the drive or fly all the way down there. But, I don't know.
Brett, thoughts?
Needs more alley. No, realistically, I think that it's gonna be semi-match heavy, but they're gonna definitely pick their spots with promos and character development. Because, I mean, like you said, Jon Moxley is gonna be in action. I don't imagine him just like popping up and saying hello.
I dropped the mic.
Yeah. So I imagine they're gonna be in a match of some sort. And that he's going to be in a match of some sort, and then they're obviously going to do the women's thing that already got leaked. I'm interested to see who they pick for that. I think they have to pick the right people, and they have to... For the women's title.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I hope I don't know how many are going to be in that match. I think they have to pick the right number, but I also think they have to pick the right participants, because they do have a lot of partnerships in terms of global companies working with them, and I think they should be featured properly, but they also have to pick people that they're actually going to long-term use, and I think if you integrate a few from those business partnerships with other companies along with your mainstays, that's the right way to go about it.
Gotta agree. Use who you're gonna use. But, yeah.
Use who you're going to use, but also don't make your partnerships feel like an absolute flop like Impact does, and use like one or two. Use like one or two, and then have those people, though, potentially take the pin, or depending on what the match is going to be, we don't know a whole lot about it other than it's been leaked. That's going to happen, AEW Women's Championship match. But using those partnerships in that sense, they get featured, they get exposure, they get to, be a part of the company in that sense, but not over-featuring them to where it feels like the main core group of your roster is just an afterthought, or, not the main core.
I would imagine that for the first show, they're probably going to do some sort of a battle royal.
I hope not.
I hope so, because that would be my chance to get all the people I want.
Oh, do you mean in general or the women's match?
General.
Oh.
In general.
Oh,
Okay.
No.
She wants the boys. She don't care about the women.
I care about like 2 of them, and that's it.
Alright.
Better be Allie.
So,
Yeah.
Allie and Leva. Those are 2 core ones.
Alright, she got good picks.
Alright. So, speaking for women, good segue. How about the match announced for SummerSlam? Last week we talked about how it was rumored. It's now confirmed now. Trish Stratus returns for one more match against Charlotte at SummerSlam.
It's funny how they're making it seem like she's coming out of retirement, considering she had a match, 10 months ago, I think?
Last October.
But then again, Evolution doesn't really matter for WWE, so...
Watch those words.
Hey, that's not my words, that's WWE's. That's WWE's words.
But,
I found it a weird setup for the match, considering it's why also Trish there? Because obviously we knew what was going to happen with Charlotte and Trish, but I just would have liked to have seen Charlotte. It's she left it open as to who it might have been that she was going to challenge, and then Trish comes back the next week and it's well, why was she even on King's Court? That's just a little nitpick, but I mean I think this match is going to be. It's definitely going to be one of the hottest matches for SummerSlam that night. I think, it's going to be a pretty good match, especially considering it's in Toronto, it's in Trish's hometown. It's going to be Trish's first one-on-one match in a while, I believe. I don't know when the last time she had a one-on-one match.
her retirement?
No, I remember during that WrestleMania season, if you remember, the one where she was teaming with Snooki. Remember she had a singles match on Raw that year. That might have been the last time, but that was 8 years ago. So it'll be interesting to see how she does in this match. But I think it's going to be a great match, especially against someone like Charlotte. She's kind of been. I know, some people are gonna be like, oh, Charlotte, of course. But I mean, I don't know. With everyone else, I can't see anyone else kind of having a match like that against Trish, considering Becky, Bayley, Ember, they're all booked in other matches. So. I think this is going to be one of the better matches. It's actually probably the second match I'm looking forward to the most on this SummerSlam card, which is kind of saying something because I think the SummerSlam card has been pretty good so far, what they have announced.
So, let me ask you guys this. What does beating Trish Stratus, what will that do for Charlotte?
Same thing it did for Tessa in Impact. It elevates her.
Okay.
So I think in a lot of ways, Charlotte is in kind of a weird spot because she definitely, I think they're doing it right with Becky in terms of being champion, and Bayley, and people have their thoughts about that, but I mean, it's been a nice, when she originally became champion, I wasn't overly excited, but I wasn't disappointed. There was better options, I felt, but
Right.
It was something newer, I feel, in terms of what we were getting, which was Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda. But now where Charlotte, I don't think that you should, in order to be the main person, I don't think that should always be reliant on a championship, because then the accolades of being a champion kind of become belittled, I feel, when it becomes oversaturated on one talent. So this is a nice way to bring in a past talent. People are going to be excited for this match. She hasn't had a one-on-one singles match in a very long time, and I think it's a nice way to bring both eras together and see them featured. And I think Charlotte did a very good job in her promo against Trish, which kind of set it up nicely. And I think people are going to be excited to see how Trish does, because it has been so long in terms of a singles match. You can put somebody in a tag match, but there's less pressure on that individual, that athlete. But when you're going against, one of the top people of today in a singles match on one of the bigger pay-per-views, there's a lot more pressure and there's a lot more at risk and at stake for the company and for the athletes. So I think it will be a great opportunity for Charlotte to kind of become more, I don't want to say relevant, that's not the term I'm looking for, but I think more like they're giving her something proper to do. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It'll kind of like get some steam back for her and her character, because going after a championship, if you keep giving her the title, people are going to be bored and it's the same shit over and over and over again. So this is almost like a nice distraction for her.
Which, see, I can agree with you that that it'd be like Tessa and Gail, it helps elevate.
Yep.
But Gail at least had been active more recently than Trish.
I think there's pros and cons to that.
Right. So my thought is losing to Trish might actually do more for Charlotte character-wise. Is either, hold on, Caesar. Hold on, I know you love Charlotte. Give me a second. It depends on what WWE wants to do with her afterward.
Right.
Every now and then they like making Charlotte face.
Mm-hmm.
So, having Trish beat her would be a way to humble Charlotte and start a face turn. Or, like you said, trying to reignite. If Trish was to beat Charlotte, that could cause Charlotte to snap. Post-match, she beats down Trish, and then Charlotte starts a path going through the women's division, kind of making her way back up to the championship. That could be a loss that sparks a fire inside.
Or unless she's just going to get time off after Summerslam to go get married or something.
But character-wise, I actually feel like a loss against Trish would help Charlotte more than a win.
I feel like a win, though, would make her, it would give her more of an arrogant side to her, that she beat one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all. Not one of, but probably the greatest women's wrestler, at least of, the last several years.
And that
would kind of, it would be an ego boost to her, that she's, now the queen, as she's saying, she's the queen of all eras. And I think that would kind of lead her to a title match.
But, exactly. But that, again, it just puts her right back in the title picture again.
But then again, it's what else would you do with her? Because it's I just look at her. I just look at the SmackDown division. It's you, Steven. You I've been ranted before. It's what exactly are they doing with this? They didn't. Wasn't there supposed to be a match this week with the Iconics and
They got cut. The Iconics ran away because they had a sick dog.
What?
Billy Kay's puppy was sick, something like that. She had to run away. They did something on one of the social medias with that.
Oh.
Iconics are safe from puppy fever or something like that.
But like you said, it's they don't really have any time for any of the other women. Wasn't there a segment with Liv Morgan where they were teasing something with her about changing her up or something, and have we really heard from her?
No, because that was just last week. But
was that last week?
Yeah, that was just last week.
I thought that was 2 weeks ago. Because wasn't it coming off of that pay-per-view? Or
no,
that pay-per-view
started screaming at each other.
Yeah.
But again, so having Charlotte lose, she would make her way back through the whole, not just going straight back to a title match, but she can go through, so she could help elevate others in the division and help put on more matches. And you could they need to focus on more stories than just the championship. So you can have Bayley versus Ember continue on for championship, while Charlotte has feuds with someone else to help build some others up too. So that's why I say both for the division and for Charlotte, I feel like a loss against Trish would be more beneficial than a win.
I do get
and lead to a WrestleMania rematch or something between them.
For a character like Charlotte, though, do we really think that her character would humble her character and have them kind of start from the bottom and become a trainer?
Like I said, I don't think if she doesn't do a face turn, I'm not going to see her being humbled, but she can definitely be this badass bitch who starts, having feuds with the other women and help. And she may not put them over, but putting on good match quality could help elevate them also. That's what I'm saying in regards to elevating.
They cut matches. Do you think they're going to have time to have 2 different feuds or anything like that going on that are going to have no ending? Like
Eric,
not to mention that they all
listen to us and help us, Eric. SmackDown's supposed to be your thing.
Eric Bischoff has not even been to one SmackDown yet.
I was on last week.
No, he has. He started last week.
Besides the one that he was on, I just saw Zack Ryder. He had a podcast. He was on an interview, and he says he has not seen Eric Bischoff once.
Well, because
it depends when that podcast was recorded. Because
that was 2 weeks ago.
Bischoff's official start date wasn't until this past Tuesday or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I get. Well, then they were just talking about so he literally wasn't prepped or anything. Then he kind of just threw him in there. But at the same time, is he actually running anything, or is he just a face?
Right now, from what last I heard, he was still making the move to Greenwich, but he did make his he did have his first taping last Tuesday, and he was on last Tuesday too. But he's still getting a feel of creative, still still kind of working on what's going on, who is who, and whatnot. So he's still gradually kind of being groomed for that spot. While Paul Heyman, he's obviously been there for a while now, and from what I heard, this week he had a lot more power running Raw this week.
Which
I do just want to say that, your ideas, Steven, I like them, but the thing is, we have to... I mean, that's almost like a fantasy booker thing, right? The ideas you were coming up with. Those are good ideas, and it is long-term storytelling. But the problem is we have to be realistic with it, and Charlotte's always going to be protected. And to an extent, they're justified. To an extent, that's justifiable. But
because if Trish were to win, where do you go with Trish after that? She's going to be, going off, she's not going to have another match next month. She's not going for the title, so there's not really much of a reason to and I do like Steven's idea. I do think, because I was also thinking that's what they might have done with Tessa and Gail, but obviously when Charlotte's kind of the face of that women's division, they're obsessed with her, and I just don't see. I don't really see much with Trish winning. I'm sorry, Brett, what were you saying?
It's just that she's always going to be protected to a certain extent, and part of that is justifiable, but I think part of it is just almost booking yourself into a corner, and it's almost like leaning on a crutch. My thing is, if Charlotte were to lose, the reason why I don't see that in a million years happening is because anytime Charlotte loses, it always becomes a trilogy. Or something like that. So then Charlotte gets the next win, and then they book to that final match, and it becomes this thing, and then Charlotte wins again. I don't see Trish working that much for that type of feud, for that type of storyline, and that's how it always plays out for Charlotte. If it's not a trilogy, it's 5 matches on pay-per-views, or whatever. It's always more layers to it.
She lost to Ronda at Survivor Series, and that was it.
That was a DQ, though.
Still a loss.
Yeah, but also there was a lot going on with Ronda, too. That definitely has to be taken into account, where the case is, look at the matches with Sasha Banks. That went on for ages, and what did Sasha get out of that? Not much.
About, 15 days total as champion?
Not much. And, and that's just one example, there's...
And where is she now? Where's Sasha now?
Hopefully hopefully she comes back from her broken nose, A, but B, I mean, I hope that wherever she goes, they start using, but that's a whole nother conversation. I can't get into a whole nother rant because I'll be here all month. But,
It needs to be a flare.
it's just, I think they keep booking themselves into a corner and on a crutch, and I think this is a nice breather, this match. But I don't see Charlotte losing, because then we are going to get another trilogy or whatever the case may be, and it's just not going to be worth it. I think if you're, like we talked about with the Raw reunion, if you're going to bring back legends, make it worth it. And I think having this one-on-one match at a big pay-per-view like SummerSlam, you know, as long as a competitive and well-rounded Trish Stratus shows up, and as long, you know, as they mesh together chemistry-wise, the story writes itself. You don't have to, you know, really do much to it to write hype for it, especially it being in Toronto.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I kind of feel like the match itself, we're like looking really far into it, but I think it's just one of those like Legends match. Whoever wins is solidified as the legend type of thing. Like, there's no really like.
Hey, that's right. It's Toronto. Are they going to let Trish lose in hometown?
Well,
Yes.
that's another topic. It was kind of a segue, but I'm not going to segue this. When we get to it, I will go on my willful rant or whatever. It's not really a rant. It's more of a positive thing, but I guess a preach.
Let's switch before Brett starts preaching. How many of you guys saw the attack on Roman Reigns that ended SmackDown?
Oh my god. Next.
Was that not the most worst
Oh my god.
put together scene in a long time?
Okay, the thing falling on him was weird, but then when he got up, it was even weirder. Like, he was just like, I'm fine.
Right, that to me ruined the whole imagination behind it. Because, man, when I saw it happening, at least I thought back to the old days of when the show would have closed on Roman being buried underneath everything. And the, oh my god, is he okay factor. But nah, you have Roman slide his way out. I'm good. No, I don't need it. I'm good. Let me walk away. No. And it was just the worst. No. Like, the whole thing was just put together so badly. It's painful to watch.
I just hope he's okay.
You gotta make sure Roman's okay to, you know, make those Hobbs and Shaw promotion. You know,
Roman, you have 10 minutes in this movie. You're the star. It's such a
that's honestly how WWE's treating it. They're treating it like this is like groundbreaking like performance from Roman, who's probably just there like by the Rock's side in the whole movie. Like, I wonder how many lines he has. Has that movie come out already? Or
Yeah. Yeah. I believe it did.
Don't get me wrong, I still want to go see it, but I still shoot back to when I went to go see Endgame for the first time, and that trailer came up in theaters, and when you see Roman going, oh, the whole theater, boo! I laughed. That was amazing. So, WWE, I don't. You guys are better than this for putting footage together. At least I think you are. I'm okay with Roman being attacked. I'm okay with it being a mystery of who did it, but do a better job. Let's sell it, man. Yes, all that shit falling on him. No, I'm good. I don't need medical. I'm good.
Next.
Moving
Yeah.
on.
It's funny watching you guys try to recreate it.
So, another thing that interesting happened this week.
Yes.
We've had a lot of fun the last, week or two with the 24/7 championship. So, heading into this week's Raw,
Oh, God.
R-Truth and Spud had a match for the title. Legit match in the ring, surrounded by lumberjacks. Or mosh pit. It was a mosh pit match. After R-Truth retained, the whole mosh pit came in to attack. They dogpiled on him. And I do not know why a referee allowed a dogpile pin to count as a pinfall, but Mike Kanellis was the bottom of the dogpile, pinning R-Truth to become the 24/7 7-Eleven European Television Champion.
It's a miracle.
So, he runs into the back and locks himself in the locker room, only to be joined by his wife Maria and a referee, which, in triggering bad memories of the past of Maria making someone else we really liked lay down for a pinfall in the championship, Maria became the first ever pregnant champion.
You know, I have a problem with something like this. And I'm going to...
around stage to all the men going, I'm a pregnant champion. What you gonna do about that?
I have a... Alright, you just said, like, something similar to, like, oh, it happened with Allie and Impact.
I never said Allie and Impact.
You were hinting at it, okay?
I never said the names, though.
Alright, anyway. I have not been big on the 24/7 championship for the most part, other than, like, certain little things that I laugh about. But, like, people are calling this, like, the burial of Mike Kanellis. Since he, like, lost the championship, and, you know, he's kind of been, would you guys say, irrelevant since signing? For the most part.
Which is really sad.
It's not match related, probably.
I mean, it's just, I don't know if it's much...
threatened to kick him in his vagina.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's much of a burial losing the championship, because he did at least lose it in a handicap match.
That is true.
I mean...
That is true. At least their daughter or their child is going to be able to claim that they were also... Because, like, remember that whole Michelle McCool Lakeville thing where they were co-champions? Like, the daughter in the future could claim that she was, like, a co-champion with her mother while she was going to the room. So what...
Yeah, was the unborn child technically the one pinning?
We thought Paige's...
Is the baby technically champion?
Yeah, we thought Paige's story was impressive. Taking bumps in the womb. She wasn't a champion in the womb, was she?
I did see something kind of funny, though, that someone posted a picture, and they were like, the only person who can rightfully pin a pregnant woman, and it was a picture of McCool.
Aww.
So if they do something like that, because I was like, how can they actually have anybody, like, really pin Maria without it getting, like, people getting about it?
Have the pregnant woman pinner. And then
we kind of got a template of it, like, because didn't, like, Pat Patterson, like, lose the championship by, like, via sleep?
It was a phantom loss, because he can't actually take bumps, so they just sat him down and pretended the pinfall took place.
But I feel like for this one, they have to, like, do something, because they're definitely playing up the pregnant champion thing a lot.
Like
it kind of makes me think, like, they'll do, like, some sort of, like stunt double kind of thing.
They have to be very careful. Like, even I wouldn't even go that far, because they have to be really careful, especially, like, because no matter what, she's pregnant, so whether they have a stunt double or not, they can't really mess around with, like, beating up or pinning pregnant women.
Oh, just have the OBGYN do it.
Ah. And have it end up being, like, one of the girls.
Have it be Steve Austin.
Have them take the mask off.
Yeah, yes.
An idea.
I'm curious to see where they're going to go for it.
It's such good shit.
It is such good shit. Speaking of good shit.
Uh-oh.
So...
What's next?
You know, Kevin Owens has been using the Stone Cold Stunner. And, you know, a lot of times the superstars will ask the legends, hey, can I use this finisher? Hey, do I have your permission? We saw Gail Kim pass on Eat Defeat to Mia. Kurt Angle passed the Angle Lock to Davey Richards.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, it's come out that Vince wants WWE superstars to stop taking finishers of the legends.
Good.
And it is believed that this is due to NXT star Dominic Dijovic asking Tazz publicly if he can start using Tazz's finisher. To me, I guess I can see Vince's point of, they're from the past, I don't want them being mentioned, blah, blah, blah. But come on. You're keeping legacies alive by letting those moves continue on, and it's showing respect from the newer talent. Hey, do I have your blessing to use the finisher? What do you guys think?
But then again, it's like you're making some of these guys, it's like they do these finishers, and it's like you're thinking of the originator. Like when you see Kevin Owens doing that stunner, you think of Stone Cold Steve Austin. When you see Chad Gable putting on the ankle lock, you're thinking of Kurt Angle. Like instead of thinking about those guys, you should be thinking about the person themselves, and they should be able to, create something new, because it's like, to me, it just comes across like, like you don't want them to look like fanboys, basically. Because like...
I'm going to argue on that one. They have to take your finish. They have to take the finisher, but then make it their own. Let's talk about a move called the cutter.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also known as the diamond cutter, also known as the Bubba cutter, also known as the springboard cutter, or the three most dangerous letters in the WWE: RKO.
But all of those guys
And they spell your destruction.
I almost choked on my water.
You're welcome. Let's go back for earlier.
Alright. Sorry.
But a lot of those guys, like, all those guys, it wasn't like the same exact cutter. Like, they made it kind of like you said, their own. Like, they were all different. But in Kevin Owens' case, it's like, it's directly like, there's nothing differentiating the stunner of Kevin Owens and Stone Cold. Other than, like, it's...
I'll say there's not much to the stunner to differentiate between.
Exactly.
Kick, grab,
Which is what I'm saying. You see that move, you automatically think of Austin. You look at the ankle lock, you think of Kurt Angle. You see, like, a rock bottom, you think of The Rock.
No, I think of Booker T with a bookend.
Or that, even.
What are you talking about? I think it's Samoa Joe when he does that corner rock bottom. Oh, wait, no.
But that's different, though, because he has a different style to it.
I was messing with you, Super.
Oh, okay.
Thing in here.
Yeah, go ahead, Liv.
No one owns anything unless you created a move. You don't own shit.
Yes, Queen!
So, I have a personal friend who's a wrestler, and people will literally ask him, hey, can I use this move? And his literal, response every time, I do not own this move. I created it. It's not, I didn't trademark this move. It's not like no one else can use it. I like to create things, and I like to change up my moveset. So I made this move. I don't like doing the same stuff everyone else does. But everybody's gonna have their own RKO. Everyone's gonna have their own Stone Cold Stunner. Everyone's gonna have Frog Splash. But they're all just these basic moves that have basic names.
Yes.
We know the Stunner. We know the RKO because Randy Orton tagged his name on it. But I'm sure he was not the first one to use that ever. I know Kurt Angle definitely wasn't the first person to use ankle lock. Just because he's probably the most famous person that used it, wrestling's been around for 100 years. Something like that. And none of those people who probably created these moves, you don't think of them ever.
Yeah, that's a good point, but it's just more so just, calling upon that. Kind of, because, as Steven mentioned, the one dude, going straight to Tazz saying, hey, can I... And, and it's not necessarily, obviously, you're going to borrow moves, because, you're going to have to, borrow moves from people. And, you, again, just like Steven said, it's just more so about making it kind of your own. Because, like you said, how many people have used the spear as their finisher? It's not necessarily, moves like that, but just more so, the synonymous moves, a Stone Cold Stunner, or... or a swanton bomb.
That's what I'm saying is it doesn't matter. So my personal opinion on that is like, I believe that these people are asking for permission because people like Tazz, or like the old school guys who kind of grew up in the same era, believe that's my move, and they get offended if someone takes their move. So like, if someone starts handing out RKO's but calls it the, I don't know, C3PO. Randy Orton's probably gonna get pissed in.
My God, he hit the C3PO.
That's EC3's finisher, the EC3PO.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you'd have somebody in the back of Randy Orton being like, "What the heck, man?" Blah blah blah. So I think that personally is like a.
Anyone remember Brock Lesnar's shooting star press?
Yes.
No.
I do.
Like, I think that Vince saying that is the dumbest thing ever, because I'm just gonna be petty and be like, "Oh, I've seen that move before. You can't do that move." That's like basically saying everyone has to create their own whole moveset that no one's ever used before.
And I would prefer that, but like it's also kind of just funny that out of all people, it's Vince that doesn't want things from the past being used in the current setting.
Yeah, no, I think it's a dumb move because, I mean, you've all pretty much made points that I was going to make, but another thing is, like, what is one of the best ways to honor somebody that's had such an inspiration and maybe a motivation behind why you became a wrestler? And if you look at, Trish versus Charlotte, not everybody's going to get matches like those. So if you look at Dominic, maybe he's super inspired by Tazz's work or something about Tazz, his work ethic, or maybe it was just the move itself, who knows. But that's a great way to pay tribute to another wrestler that maybe is the reason why you are in the ring today. And you're not going to have that match. I don't see Tazz coming back and having a match, and I don't think anybody would be remotely interested in that. But, not every wrestler that you have that's from the past is going.
Tazz was legit back in the day, man. I remember locking people in the Tazz mission.
Yeah, but you also have to take into account people's conditions nowadays. Trish is in a condition where, yes, she can come back, and yes, people are going to be interested. She has a constant sense of relevancy around her because she's always featured in the video packages. She's brought back every so often, and she was easily one of the top stars of her time. But, like, somebody like Tazz, I don't see them bringing Tazz back unless it's for a commentary role. In terms of an in-ring match, I don't see that happening. So somebody like Dominic being inspired by Tazz, what a great way to, basically not only say thank you, but also pay tribute to that person, then using their move and also making it a consistent part of their moveset. But I also think that with finishers, that should not be your limitation. You never should stop trying to be more creative and coming up with new things, fresh ideas from your entrance, from your gear, from your finishers, from your moveset in general. From your storylines, things that you pitch by yourself, things that you contribute when you're given something. I don't think it should stop at, oh, here's my 5 basic moves and here's my finisher, and the creativity stops. You should always be trying to grow, I think, in the ring and as an athlete. And I think that's why somebody like Amazing Red has consistently wowed crowds throughout his career, because he's always coming out with something fresh, innovative, and something that, is different. I think you should still do that, and you definitely have the ability to do that just because you're using a finisher that somebody used in the past.
But like going on that, that's basically just Vince saying no one can ever use the Tazz mission ever again. Like that's where I have an issue, because it's like you're literally basically banning a move that has no why would you ban a move like that just because someone else does it? Like, they don't want to have to talk about, oh, that is the Tazz mission, like, especially if he hadn't thought of a name for it, in which, if that's what he wants to do, make him think of a name for it. You don't even have to mention Tazz, like, ever.
Yeah.
Like, it's also a good way for Tazz
able
to act like as like a legend, have Tazz pass the move down to him so he can use it. Like, if that's really a big concern, people think that you really need to pass moves down. Otherwise, it's basically like going extinct. Like, no one can ever use it. Like, I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, just that to me, it's just, I don't I don't know. I just kind of would like to just see more, like Brett said, just more creativity. Like, you could take moves, because it's like, how many people have, like, I said, used the spear, or have, like, made their own variation of a rock bottom or whatnot. But it's like, when you have, like, more synonymous moves, such as, like, a Tazz mission, like as Steven said, it was, like, one of the more deadly finishers, submission finishers back during Tazz's day that a lot of people still remember fondly to this day. And if someone were to fly today, it would be like, oh, hey, look, that's Tazz finisher. But if someone like Dominic were able to take that and make it his own, as he even shows off the AEW Women's Championship title, I just feel like, you know, you don't want your current talent coming across as like, you know, as fanboys. You want them to come across as like the current stars of wrestling today.
Yeah.
I just think
like Lindsay Dorado created his own move called the Space Jam. Like, you don't see him.
It's a dance, you dance on the Space Jam.
I don't understand how, one, if you really don't believe that these people have creative moves, that you need to take moves away from them as well. Send them to Performance Center, have them work. Just be like, send everyone there and be like, work on 3 new moves, unless they are like some people who already have synonymous. Like, Roman Reigns' whole moveset out the door. Whole moveset. Because all of his are different variations of other people's moves.
No, they're not. They're all his originals.
But the thing is, just sorry.
No, you're good.
The thing is, like, just because somebody takes a finisher though from somebody else, you know, the landscape of wrestling really is in a transitional period. If you look at guys like Ricochet, Daniel Bryan, Finn Balor, and even Marco, there was a time period not too long ago that they would not have been relevant and maybe not even signed. And now they're some of the more talked about wrestlers, you know, right now, and have some of the brightest futures. So I think that these guys, now that they're being placed more in the forefront of not only WWE, but every company in general, you're seeing the landscape of wrestling changing within the moveset, within the looks, and, you know, all these different ideas. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot more high-flying talents coming in and being pushed and whatnot. So I think giving a little shout-out by having a finisher, I just think it's Vince trying to be more controlling than he already is.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Because, like, of course, like, one of the big, like, themes in wrestling is, like, practically, like, everyone is practically taking P.D. Williams' Canadian Destroyer. Like, there's never a show where someone has not pulled out a Canadian Destroyer. And, like, back when, you know, like I said, like, when P.D. Williams, you know, was wrestling, you know, full time during his prime, like, that was, like, one of the greatest finishes. But it's, like, now it's just, you know, it's just a 2 and whatnot. So, you know, it's just one of those things. 2! 1.5! 2.99999!
That was so close, any closer would have been a 3! We have fun. So let's see, where are we? We did that. We got Liz T out. Tessa versus Sami Callihan in the #1 contendership match happens this Friday on Impact Plus.
Didn't that just happen?
We discussed that one last week, I believe.
We did.
We discussed that it was happening, so I'm just reiterating that it is happening this Friday.
Did that match already happen, like, a couple weeks
Tomorrow night.
It did already happen, though.
Oh, rematch.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was talking about. Okay.
It's the rematch. This is one that matters. So we'll get to talk next week about our thoughts of, depending on who wins this, or if it draws, or whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about rumor I saw earlier today. King Cuerno, a.k.a.
No, let's not talk about this, please.
Best friend!
I don't even want to think about the idea.
Best
I don't
friend!
even want to think about the idea. Lucha House Party, nothing.
Wait, what happened?
That's all I'm going to say.
What happened? I don't know about this.
Supposedly, he's slated to go to WWE around September.
Ew.
Well, why is Caesar mad about it?
Because they're going to fuck him up. They're going to fuck that guy up. They're gonna have him come out eating chocolate, and then like during the finish of one of his matches, someone's gonna steal his chocolate, and he's gonna get counted out. I guarantee. I'm not even laughing, but I guarantee you that's what's gonna happen. I'm not even joking around.
Do you
They're
really
gonna put him.
think a joke like that?
They're gonna put him in the Lucha House.
The command chocolate.
They're gonna put him in the Lucha House party, and the pinata's filled with chocolate. I guarantee you that's one of the ideas being thrown around right now.
Or will they put him in NXT and let him shine like Andrade got to?
What about Garza?
Who?
Garza's there.
As a junior.
I know.
I mean, but he's a lot younger though. Because I think Fantasma's like 36. I think.
He just got married.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, congrats to him.
I want more for my best friend.
I just think because they're gonna if they're gonna sign him, I could definitely see him being put on 205 Live, and what exactly would be his point? Because I see someone like a Grand Metalik, and he's like one of the best wrestlers that they had there in that entire roster. But does anyone even notice? No one really notices because they pretty much limited his moveset.
Assuming 205 Live's still a thing by the time he joins up.
Liv
Oh.
talking with that.
Liv knows something. Ooh.
No, I actually I'm going to skip in T because I agree.
Yeah.
They've already started to move everyone other places, so.
I would be interested to see if he were to go to AEW at the very least. I could see maybe Phantasma Jr. That could be a good spot for him.
You could just join the Lucha Bros. You wouldn't have to change the name. Still a bro.
Still a bro, yo.
Hashtag still a bro.
I am genuinely super excited for the Raw Women's Championship match for SummerSlam.
You're finally getting Ember Moon, right?
That's SmackDown.
Yeah, that's a SmackDown. Wait, are you excited for the Raw or SmackDown one?
I'm excited for the SmackDown one, hoping Ember wins, but I'm excited for the Raw match.
Oh, the Raw one. No, yeah, you're natty.
Yep.
Maddie? She's wrestling Becky?
Yep.
Ah.
You
Yeah,
know what?
I did.
And what maybe a submission
I'm
match.
looking for that weekend. Bam.
Ooh.
The HBIC gonna take that title.
I don't think that's gonna happen. But at least a big credit to
I'll
NXT.
fight you, Caesar. I'll fight you.
Just how
Hey,
serious
I'm saying that with the WWE perspective that if Shayna were to be NXT champion, that they might bring back Ronda. That would be their way to hey Ronda, hey you're still the champion here. But big credit to NXT because I think this is the first takeover to feature 2 women's matches, I believe. Because
Hey,
it's Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai.
here's gonna be my argument for you on that one, Caesar. It's almost November. That means it's almost time for Survivor Series.
I don't think they're going to do that 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen match. I don't think that's going to be happening. At least not this
Oh
year.
my
Maybe
god,
next-
I hope not.
Because I don't think I don't think the other 2 are ready.
No,
The
they're
other 2 are
not.
definitely not ready.
Ronda's planning on getting pregnant though, so I think they have a really small window of time, and Vince is gonna take that opportunity once he gets it.
Because it's such good shit.
So it's either happening or not, basically.
I don't know, but I am gonna. I like what they're doing with the women's matchups. I think this is a great opportunity for Ember, so hopefully, I don't know. I would like to see her get her shot to shine. And
And involving the... Oh, go ahead.
and
Huh?
wait, what?
Go ahead, bro. You can't see, so it's difficult to know when you're stopping.
And
That's why I just noticed that's why John Cena is his idol, because we can't see him. So stupid.
Are you?
I just got
One
it.
hour after the joke, Caesar catches it.
I'm gonna sort myself out of here. My gosh.
I just would like a moment of silence. Thank you. No, I am excited because I actually want to see Natty win. I think.
Me too.
Yes! Okay, I'm not alone on that.
I love Becky, but I think it's definitely Natty's time.
Yeah. And know what's sad, though? Like, Natty could have been a champion more than just twice by now, easily. Because as a heel, she is very, very interesting and very entertaining. But they never fully capitalize on it, and then they'll randomly do this weird thing where they do capitalize on it for a little bit, and then we always end up losing her. So the fact that she's actually prominent and in a match in Canada on a big pay-per-view like SummerSlam that has so much history, especially with her family, I hope she's able to make a little more history for her family. And I think it's a great time to do so.
Especially if it's a submission match.
Yeah. I think,
But
too...
it's like her little nonchalant thing on Raw. I would challenge you to a submission match, but I'm not going to challenge you to the submission match. Walks away.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I see the reverse psychology there, Natty.
I think... I don't know. She deserves it. She's definitely earned it, and I think
really
people are getting tired. Yeah, I think people... Thank you. I think people are getting tired of... I don't know how to say this.
I know what you're talking about, because like the thing about Becky's title run, it's like they wasted like the last 3 months of Becky on Lacey Evans, who, as we've kind of mentioned, hasn't, was kind of put in a position she was not really ready for.
Right.
And I think like for Becky, this match is kind of like the match that she needs to kind of build some momentum that she's kind of been lacking since WrestleMania. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but Becky is actually like the girlfriend of Seth Rollins. Yeah, I don't know if y'all know that.
No. If you pay attention to
Wait,
WWE,
what?
Seth Rollins is Becky's boyfriend.
Exactly.
They never actually refer to Becky as Seth's girlfriend. Not often, if they do. It's normally always Seth Rollins is being acknowledged as Becky's boyfriend.
Becky...
The man.
Wait,
The
Becky
man.
is dating Seth... I never heard of her.
That's a completely different story, where apparently they're trying to make Seth Rollins look cool. Seth's really trying to make him look cool, but that's a different story. But like I said, I think this match Becky really needs to kind of build some momentum, because she definitely lost a lot of the fire that she had at the end of 2018, and I think a match like this against
Oh, we fight
a great worker, great veteran in Natty, especially especially in Toronto. Like, I think they're going to treat that match very specially. I think it's going to be interesting though with that match too, like how they book it, because Becky's kind of like the face, the big baby face of the women's division, but I think going into this match, I think Natty's going to get the big hometown reaction. It'll be interesting to see how Toronto treats Becky.
Let's put it this way. You can't have SummerSlam end and have both Natty and Trish lose.
That's the other thing I was thinking. No, what I would think about Becky, I think she thrives when you let her do real stuff, if that makes sense. Like, when you take the outside stuff and it's not always in the ring or like in a feud with Lacey or whatever. Like her little promo interview segment that she did on Moment of Bliss. That was like, I thought that was really good. I was like, oh damn, there's the man character again. She's back. And then like, that's the exciting stuff. But I think she's very much one of those people like Charlotte that doesn't need the title to thrive. Obviously different circumstances, but I think right now she might actually benefit from kind of like, Natty easily would benefit from winning this match, obviously. And I think it's her time to capitalize on this character that she has going for her, this heel Natty. I think every time that they pull the trigger on it, it always pays off. And I think
that's a badass looking champion right there.
I want Natty to win this. And
Yeah, me too. I just think they need to kind of push Becky in a different direction, like take the championship out of the picture, but push her in a different direction, because like you were saying, I think she's just losing momentum on her character, and not of any fault of her own. But now it's just getting boring, you know?
I'm okay with either one winning. I just want a good match.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I
think that's
just think
guaranteed.
you take that title. I just think you just take that title off of Becky. You're just making the title more like all respect to Natalya. It's just that they take the title off of Becky, who's their definitely their hottest women in that division, and I just think the title becomes less of importance because we've seen this where Asuka won the title, the SmackDown title, and it meant nothing until Charlotte won it again, and they had to put that match in the main event of WrestleMania.
But isn't that the flaw?
Huh?
Isn't that the flaw, though? Because here's the thing. The reason why people are annoyed with Charlotte being champion all the time is because, like, A, she gets it all the time, blah, whatever. But, like, B, she is, like, one of those people that's so suitable for the championship, but there's never any payoff for anybody else. And that's what people get irritated about, is it's always Charlotte looking great. And then who else has honestly looked like a reputable champion when they switch it off?
Exactly, but then it's like I feel the same would happen with Natty if they were to put the championship on her. That much wouldn't come out of Natty's reign, and we'll be discussing about how lackluster her title reign was. But if they were to keep it on Becky, I think the championship definitely benefits.
Yeah,
especially not because Becky, like we said, has not had a great run either. Especially when you have it to carry around like Lacey Evans for the last 3 months.
I just think that you give the championship to somebody that's deserving and worthy, which both of them are, but there comes a time where, somebody is so pushed and it reaches a certain star power where they don't need the championship to necessarily remain relevant. And I think
but there's a reason for that.
Charlotte,
they've been pushed. Go ahead.
I think Charlotte and Becky fit the bill in that, but now it's time. Natalya has more than proven herself over the years, and every time that they pull the trigger on heel Natalya, people become more invested in her character than they ever have been. It happens every time. They've done it countless times over the years. And if they let her be herself and do these promos that she's doing and letting herself go around and just say how she feels and she's so believable as a heel. And when you have that believability factor, that's what makes a star. That's what makes somebody a champion. She already has the in-ring stuff down. There's no questioning that she's an amazing technical wrestler and easily one of the easiest wrestlers to work with for any of the women on the roster. So I think as long as you book it right, that's all you have to do for Natalya. She's taken all the other work that's required, and she's made it easy and almost effortless. But you have to pull the trigger just like they did on Charlotte and Becky.
Mm-hmm.
They have to do that. I'm good.
I was just going to say, because exactly as you said, like, you need to have a plan with them going forward. You just can't give someone the championship with the expectation that maybe this will help them. Like, no, you need to put the championship on someone you're committed to. Mm-hmm. And it's like, they've done a good job with Natty, these last couple of weeks. But there hasn't been anything that tells me that, that they would be committed to her going forward. Like, going into that Ronda match, I thought Sasha, they did a good job, but I didn't get anything that, like, they would be committed to her going forward after that match. But it's like Ember Moon. I don't see her winning because I don't see her, kind of being elevated past that match. Maybe so, but I just don't think if you were to give the championship to her, you wouldn't necessarily buy it that much because she hasn't done much before then that would lead you to believe she could be, champion. That to me is just like with Money in the Bank. You just don't give someone the Money in the Bank with the expectation that maybe this will help them. No, because that person's going to be the champion, and you need to make sure that because you've got people like Baron Corbin, Carmella, whatnot win those things, and
hey,
look at them now.
Carmella was awesome as champion. I loved Carmella as champion.
I agree with that one. But I get what you're saying. I definitely hear you. But my thing is, I think Becky being champion right now is actually hurting her, in the sense.
The best Becky was Becky before the belt.
Right. And the problem with it, though, is yes, the Lacey stuff and everything, and we can always point to Lacey, but that's only a fraction of it. They're only they're really...
creative.
But they're also really not pulling the trigger on Becky that much. I mean, when they let her do her real stuff like she did at Moment of Bliss and let her be herself, and it's not always, she doesn't always have to be in the arena, in front of the camera doing things, or in the ring, that type of scenery. When she's backstage and doing, showing up on the other brand, stuff like that, that is the Becky that people are like, holy shit, we're invested. But right now, people are expecting that and wanting that and desiring that, and they're not giving it to us because they've kind of booked themselves in a corner, I think, in terms of her character, and they're not really sure what to do with her. But now when you're the champion, you do have a certain level of expectation that comes with you. And I think that's what's hurting her, so I think her losing the belt to Natalya helps elevate Natalya, do it right, but also now you can take the time to work with Becky and get that fire back to where now people are like, this is the Becky that we've been wanting. Where right now, if you keep leaving her Raw Women's Champion, you keep doing the same lackluster bullshit where, oh my god, Seth Rollins, this is cute. Like, that's for reality TV. You know, at some point it just gets boring and dull. That's my take on it, though.
I agree.
No,
I think that if we... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Liv. You're talking.
No, I was going to say, I think that if, like, at this point for Becky, if you keep the belt on her, it's just going to go downhill even worse and worse.
Right.
So I'd rather have them take the belt off of her and let her rebuild her brand or the man, whatever she decides that she wants to do. Let her do some other things. Like, my only concern is that they put her back with Charlotte, but I do think we would benefit a lot as a women's division to have Natty win, and because I mean you can't just keep the belt on somebody forever with like being scared that this
No, it seemed to like doing that with Brock.
Yeah,
But
because,
that's...
like I think they're just because and again I think that's exactly what they're doing. Brock is the Raw version of Becky and Charlotte. Roman and Brock, the two Becky and Charlottes of the men's division.
I agree. And I think it's a problem, too, because they never put faith in the younger guys, you know? 1 second Finn Balor is the Intercontinental Champion, and we're supposed to give a shit, and then it's just like, oh, where is he? Same thing with Nakamura. Where was he, like...
A few months off.
Yeah, no, but then look at what happened with Nakamura. It was like, oh, wait, shit, he signed. That's right. Whoops. Only one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah, I was going to say easily one of the best wrestlers.
Oh yeah, he's there. Forgot.
Oh yeah.
He's the champ right now. Did you know that too? One of the champions.
Yes, because I saw him at the SmackDown house show.
Oh.
He is? Wait. He's a champion right now?
Great job, WWE.
Intercontinental Champion, yes.
Let me quiz you guys. Who's the SmackDown Tag Team Champion? I'm just
I'm just going to guess that Usos. Oh.
Dude,
Oh.
who's the Raw Tag Team Champion? I have no idea.
Well,
It's Bullet Club or whatever.
Michael?
no, the
No,
other.
Hawkins and Ryder. Hawkins and Ryder, no?
No, it's Carl.
Well, they just won it this past month.
I saw a funny meme about New Day and Hawk and the club. So that I actually did know that. I just forgot about it. I didn't know that was like current.
There's one that Liv doesn't know. Who's the Cruiserweight Champion? This
Maxwell?
Rockstar Spud.
Good for him.
Wait, you're lying.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay. I was like, I just saw Rory the other day, and I know we would have ranted about it if that was happening.
He did have a match, though. He did beat Mike Kanellis on 205 Live this week, though. Spud did.
Well, you know, he has a lot of frustration built up because the poor man has yet to consummate his wedding.
As his wife said, he'll get on top of a pregnant woman for the championship, but not his own wife. But we'll leave that for the lovely wedding couple. There you go.
Maria Kanellis, WWE champion. I will pin a pregnant woman. Oh, so you'll jump on top of a pregnant woman, but not your own wife? Oh, poor Renee.
That whole thing confuses me. I don't understand. I mean, I do understand, but like, why? Why is it happening?
Because it's entertaining.
Liv, she wasn't
It's
actually talking
stupid.
about a pinfall. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Liv's done.
Well, like, is this like the first case where they randomly brought in someone's like
Yes.
real significant other and like just or like
That's because,
they actually made her gear and everything. Like,
and they let her keep her name, too.
Like what?
which is a big no-no for most people, but
Props to Spud.
which is a big testament. Yeah, exactly.
No, she's Renee Maverick.
They call her that?
She is Renee Maverick.
Oh gosh.
And she had special gold and green attire made
That
to
was
match.
funny. That was funny. I liked that. That was funny.
Well, funny, Brett.
The golden green gear. Like, I thought that was funny. Like, you pay attention to that championship, so I made my gear look like it, and you still don't give a shit about me.
Oh, I didn't put that together. I didn't understand what you guys were saying. I literally have not watched. I have no idea what's going on besides what I see on my Twitter.
Time to feed Liv's Twitter. Alright, so do we have any other?
One last topic, Steven. I can't believe one last topic we could discuss, Steven. I can't believe you skipped over this one, but Impact Wrestling on Monday announced a new addition to the Knockouts division.
Oh yeah.
Neil Dashwood is now part of the Knockouts division. I know you can't see Brett right now, but he's jumping on his chair right now with excitement. But
Yes.
This is definitely a great addition to the Knockouts division. I think a lot of people lately have kind of, taken notice of the Knockouts division as kind of one of the strong suits of Impact, and adding someone like her, I think, definitely strengthens the division even more.
That it does.
Yes! No, I'm excited. There's a lot of matchups I'm already looking forward to seeing. Wait 10 minutes. No, I'm excited because there's a lot of matchups that I'm interested in seeing. I mean, one of them in particular being her versus Taya. Because of the history there between the two. And then, I mean, her versus Tessa obviously would be a lot of fun to watch. And just how she interacts with people like Sue and Rosemary I think would be really interesting because she hasn't been in an environment where she's actually interacted with characters like Rosemary and Sue Young. So I think that's like a very, very different concept. What was that?
Havoc?
Oh yeah, Havoc as well.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, even like her versus Kira sounds interesting. Her versus Jordan, like the Knockouts division does have a lot to offer right now in terms of matchups, in terms of good quality stories and in-ring competition. Then when you add somebody like Tenille, who I think is probably gonna have a bit of a chip on her shoulder because she did just come from Woman of Honor, which, whew, but she
Why
isn't.
would there be a chip from that?
Because she just wasted a year of her life. She just wasted a year of her life.
You would definitely have a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah. She just wasted a whole year of her life after coming out of WWE being one of the most exciting free agents.
I think that's the opposite of a chip on your shoulder, though. Because, like, a chip on your shoulder is like being cocky. Like, why would you be cocky coming from that?
No, it also could be, like, something to prove.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that, yes, definitely.
Especially considering she's also coming back from a shoulder injury, I believe, right?
Yeah, and she talked about how she also has, like, she was working on, like, her psoriasis condition and everything and how she's overcome that, and she was very open about that story and how, she's really taken into account in research and different testings and whatnot to not only overcome it, but to also keep it kind of stable. But I'm very excited that Impact signed her. That's obviously where I wanted her as soon as she got out of WWE. But now that it's actually happening in reality, it's very nice, and I thought it was also nice to see that Impact got a lot of very good press from that signing. Because I think there's been a lot of, what's the TV deal situation, and there's obviously been a lot of concern, negativity, and kind of stress on them because of that. So I think this was a reason to celebrate for Impact fans.
Right.
What would you see Tenille's first pay-per-view match being? I believe Bound for Glory coming up in 2 months from now. Who would you like to see as her first opponent on that pay-per-view?
Tessa.
Probably not going to be Tessa.
I'm just saying that's who I would like it to be.
Sue. Let's start right off the bat with the strangeness. Sue. Do not toss her head in the Knockouts title picture.
No.
Do not do that.
I agree with Liv on Tessa, depending on the situation, and here's why. I think we just talked about Charlotte, for instance. I think Tessa, in a lot of ways, has impacted Charlotte in terms of who's going to touch her. Well, now you have somebody, you know, who is well respected at WWE, given so much props and credit for her work that we never actually really got to see on WWE television. She was wasted away in Ring of Honor. Now she has an opportunity, a proper platform where they actually care about women's wrestling, and she's one of the most notable people on there. She's coming in with easily the biggest following out of the Knockouts. So I think having that factor play in against Tessa, it's also a nice way to not just throw her into the championship picture, but also give her a suitable opponent for somebody of her caliber in terms of exposure and recognition.
But we know chances are good Tessa might be challenging for the Impact World title at Bound for Glory.
Yeah, it just depends on how that plays out. If not, I mean, I think her and Taya, you know, that's kind of fair to write because they grew up, you know, kind of in the wrestling business together, training and whatnot, and having matches and kind of coming into their own, so that's fair, but it also depends when is she actually debuting and who is the champion at that time.
Havoc.
So.
Havoc will be champion after Friday. Making my bold, unbreakable prediction.
Is Unbreakable going up against Impact?
It actually is. That's not actually the first time they did that, because I believe the last month's Impact Plus event went up against Impact too.
I mean, their situation is not ideal, but they really know how to make it more not ideal than it already is. I mean, you have your show.
Do that.
I don't know. It's like putting a pay-per-view, but it's not a pay-per-view, up against your live show. So nobody knows the latest, but yet you're going to give us... I quit.
Yep. That's pretty much where we're at.
Yeah. She is debuting, though, I believe, in Mexico. Is that incorrect?
August 15th and the 16th in Mexico, and she's also at the Vegas taping too, I believe.
Ooh.
Which also, those Vegas tapings will also include one TJP.
Yes, birthday week.
Hey.
Alright. So we're going to start making Vegas plans.
Oh, I'm going. I already know I'm going.
Okay, the rest of us are going to make Vegas
It's
plans.
all about me. I hope she does that theme song. Well, she's not going to, but that would be great.
Alright.
Sorry.
Anything else from anybody? Alright. Let's close the show with, we want to send thoughts and care to the family of Harley Race.
Yes.
WWE Hall of Famer passed away. News broke earlier today. Our thoughts are with his family. Caesar, go ahead and close us out.
Well, just adding on to that, like it's definitely a tough loss with Harley Race. It's definitely someone not before my time, but just like watching some of his like matches against like Ric Flair, like they're definitely like one of the best matches. So he's definitely someone that's had a great impact on the business, and like you said, like the thoughts and prayers to all of his fans, his friends, and his family. So, as we close this week, we would like to thank each and every single one of you that is checking us out, whether it be live or on demand. And for more on the Wrestling Reality Rundown, you can follow us on the social media at WRR Network FL on Twitter, at WRR Network on Instagram, Wrestling Reality Rundown on Facebook. You can also join us on our soon-to-be Patreon. Wait, we can talk about that? The Patreon? Oh, okay. Well, that's that's an off-screen discussion. Excuse me. Don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. You can follow us individually.
We have to get Brett's camera working good for the raves. You gotta get the stuff down. And we'll get the Reality Rundown Patreon going once we have our perks ready for everybody.
All those tears. I'm just thinking about it. Oof. But follow us individually on Twitter at LiveLive1132, at It's Me Invasion, at the Red Standard. I almost forgot my own Twitter handle. And we will chat with you next week with all the latest happenings. We'll discuss all the happenings, predictions for SummerSlam next week, I believe.
And NXT TakeOver. Y'all better study up on that one.
All right. So, thank you for joining us, and we will chat with you next week.
Bye.